Okay, now previously we've talked about dynamic stretching. Just to remind you, dynamic stretching is something we do at the start of a workout or before we play our sports, and that prepares the body for activity. So it gets our head in the game, it prevents injuries, and it will actually enable us to perform better. So that's our dynamic stretching. So always remember that's the start of your workout or your sport. With static stretching, this is something we do at the end. And the reason we do static stretching is because we want to get the body now ready for recovery. So obviously when we're exercising, we produce various waste products, carbon dioxide, lactate starts to lead to acidosis of the muscles, and we just get generally fatigued and we get damage to our muscle fibers. So what we want to do now is tell the brain to trigger the parasympathetic nervous system, bring our blood pressure down, bring our heart rate down, and just get us ready for recovery and relaxation. So that is why we do the static stretches. Now we've got maintenance static stretches and we've got developmental static stretches. Maintenance stretches are to maintain flexibility. So everybody's got a current range of motion at their joints. So whether we're talking about the shoulders or the hips, you have a current range of motion. Now with maintenance stretches, all we're doing is maintaining that current range of motion. So if I've just been working my legs in the gym, then my quads, my hamstrings, they can get quite tight and slightly shortened. So what we do is at the end of a workout is we give them a good stretch to return them back to their range of motion or maintain our range of motion. So that's why we do those. Now developmental is obviously taking that step further. So it's looking to develop your range of motion. So if you decided that actually I haven't got very good hip mobility or I haven't got very good shoulder mobility, then you might look at adding some developmental stretches to develop that range of motion. Both static, one maintains your range of motion, one looks to take it that step further and develop it. So I'm just going to go through some maintenance static stretches with you. So let's just do 5 classic maintenance static stretches. So first one, I'm going to start off with a chest stretch. So just watch me. So all I'm doing, placing my hands at the bottom of my back, pushing my chest out and pushing my elbows together. And I'm feeling that across my chest. Hence, it's called a chest stretch. Now with static stretches, we don't do repetitions of them like dynamic stretches, we actually hold them for a given time. Now as I mentioned, we're focusing on maintenance stretches, so these are going to be 10 to 15 seconds. So you just hold it, 10 to 15 seconds, and then you can move on to the next stretch. With any sort of stretching really, we also have our own preferences. So some people might want to do the stretch for 10 to 15 seconds, have a little breather, and then do it again. If you want to, 2-3 sets of that, absolutely fine. It may be just one of each stretch is enough. So, it's going to be dependent on your preferences. Now we'll look at the upper back stretch. So the upper back stretch, just watch me. Okay, so for this one, all you're doing is bring your arms out in front of you, rounding your back and gently pulling your shoulder blades apart. So I'm feeling that at the top of my back, which is my trapezius. So I'm gently pulling my shoulder blades apart. The first time I was showing this stretch, someone said, imagine you're hugging a post box. An odd analogy, but I can see what they mean. So same thing, excuse me, same thing, 10 to 15 seconds, just hold the stretch. So we've done our chest, we've done our upper back. Let's move on to the hips. So first one I'm going to show you is the standing hamstring stretch. Okay, so for this one, all you're going to do is take a step forward, get the foot flat, toes pointing forwards, just flex from the hips and push your butt towards the ceiling. You can do that the other side as well. Okay, so the idea behind this, obviously it's stretching the back of the thigh, the hamstrings. If you can't feel the stretch, you can increase it by just pushing those hips further up towards the ceiling. So as I'm driving my hips up, I can just feel that stretch coming on a bit more on the hamstrings. So that's our standing hamstring stretch. We can also do a standing calf stretch, which is the back of the lower leg. Okay, so what I'm doing there is taking a step forward again, still keeping both my feet flat, toes pointing forwards, and just bending the front knee. Now, if you want to increase the stretch on this one, you can drive your heel further into the ground, so just push that heel down. Or you can use the wall to assist you. Just place your hands on the wall. Same thing, step forward, but just drive that heel into the ground as you're leaning into the wall. So that's it's actually called a standing gastrocnemius stretch, which is the main belly of the calf. I would call it a calf stretch. Now I'm going to show you a standing quad stretch. Your quads are your front of thigh, which is this muscle here. Just watch me. Okay, so all I'm doing is trying to maintain balance for one, taking hold of my foot, just pulling my heel to the back of my thigh, keeping my knees together. Now, if you want to increase the stretch on that one, you just push your hips forwards. So you're sort of thrusting your hips forward. So there, if I drive my hips forward, I just feel that stretch coming a little bit more. Okay, and also don't forget to do the other leg. And if you struggle to balance, like I just did then you can lean on the wall. Or if you've got a partner with you, you can lean on your partner. But ask their permission first. Geometrica, that is. All right, so that's a standing quad stretch. So we've done the upper back stretch, chest stretch, hamstrings, the calves if you want to do it against the wall, and we've done the standing quad stretch. So there's 5 stretches there. Again, there's loads of static stretches like there are dynamic stretches, but that's 5 that would probably do you quite well at the end of a workout to help you get into recovery mode, possibly help to reduce some of the muscle soreness you might get the next day or the day after. And just means that when you come back to the gym next time, you can train just as hard as you did the session before.